You are not lacking confidence, you are slowly losing it every single day. In the moments where you choose not to act, not because of failure and not because of rejection, but because of those quiet moments where you already know exactly what you should do, yet still allow hesitation to take over. You wake up with a clear plan, a sense of direction, and even a brief feeling of certainty. But as the day unfolds, procrastination creeps in. Your mind begins to question what it already understands. And when the critical moment finally arrives, instead of moving forward, you pull back. And the most dangerous part is not that you notice it, but that you don't. Because it never feels like weakness. Instead, it feels like intelligence, like caution, like being realistic, like waiting for the right moment, when in reality, what is happening is far simpler and far more uncomfortable to admit. It is fear quietly disguised as logic. And over time, without drama or visible collapse, confidence does not suddenly break. It simply fades, quietly eroded every time you choose inaction over movement. From the perspective of Stoicism, confidence does not emerge from success or external validation, but from something far more demanding and far less comfortable, which is the ability to govern yourself in the middle of uncertainty. Yet the core problem for most people is that they continuously attempt to control what was never within their power to begin with, including other people's opinions, unpredictable outcomes, and an uncertain future. As Epictetus reminded us, some things are within our control and others are not. And the moment you confuse the two, you begin to transfer your power outward, allowing the external world to determine your internal state, which is exactly when confidence becomes fragile, because it is no longer anchored in anything stable. In this video, you will begin to understand the 7 silent causes that gradually destroy confidence from within. And more importantly, how to rebuild a completely different form of confidence that does not depend on outcomes, does not fluctuate with circumstances, and does not collapse under self-doubt. But you need to stay until the end, because the final principle is not simply another idea. It is the foundation everything else depends on. The first cause is the validation trap, where your sense of certainty depends entirely on how others respond to you. So you feel stable until someone questions you, and confident until someone disagrees, at which point everything begins to wobble like a structure built on unstable ground. And as Seneca warned, when your self-worth is tied to external approval, you inevitably become dependent on something you cannot control. Because people constantly change, their opinions shift without warning. And if your confidence is built on something that unstable, it will naturally collapse with it. Which is why the first step is deceptively small yet powerful. Make one decision today without asking for anyone's opinion, not as rebellion, but as the beginning of internal authority. The second cause is the illusion of perfection, where you convince yourself that you need to be more prepared, more skilled, or wait for the perfect moment before taking action. Yet that moment never arrives, because perfection is not a real standard, but a disguised form of fear that keeps you suspended in inaction. While Stoic philosophy teaches that progress is the only real measure that matters. Not ideal conditions, and waiting for everything to be perfect is like waiting for the ocean to become still before learning how to swim. A situation that will never occur in reality. Which means every delay only strengthens the belief that you are not ready. Even though readiness is not something you wait for, but something you develop through action. So the more practical response is to act at 80% readiness. Not because it is perfect, but because it is enough to begin. The third cause is emotional overreaction, where small events are magnified beyond their actual weight. So a mistake feels like collapse, and a single criticism feels like failure. Not because those events are truly catastrophic, but because your interpretation expands their meaning. And Marcus Aurelius reminded us that while external events are not within our control, our judgment of them always is. Which means when emotion takes over reasoning, clarity disappears. And without clarity, you stop making conscious choices and begin reacting automatically. So the discipline here is to pause in those moments and ask whether what you are facing is within your control, and if it is not, to release it, and if it is, to act without hesitation. The fourth cause is anxiety about the future, where the mind continuously generates worst-case scenarios and treats them as probable realities, turning imagination into fear and uncertainty into paralysis. Yet Stoic practice approaches this differently by deliberately visualizing worst-case outcomes, not to intensify fear, but to dissolve its ambiguity, because fear that is undefined feels overwhelming. But fear that is clearly defined becomes manageable. Which is why writing down the worst possible outcome along with your response to it often reveals a surprising truth: that you are far more capable of handling difficulty than your mind initially assumes. The fifth cause is lack of identity, where your behavior constantly shifts depending on your environment, your mood, or the people around you, creating inconsistency in action and instability in self-perception. And when there is no consistency, confidence has no foundation to develop, which is why Stoicism emphasizes identity over results, meaning you do not become confident after achieving success, but by consistently acting in alignment with the person you intend to become. So choosing a few core traits, such as discipline, honesty, or composure, and deliberately practicing them in small daily actions slowly creates a stable internal identity. The sixth cause is avoidance of discomfort, where you repeatedly choose what is easy over what is necessary, avoiding difficult conversations, challenges, and risks, which provides short-term relief but long-term weakness, because every act of avoidance reinforces the belief that you are not capable. While Stoics instead view discomfort as training rather than punishment, a necessary pressure that expands your capacity. Meaning every time you willingly step into discomfort, even in small ways, you are actively reshaping your self-image and strengthening your confidence through lived experience rather than assumption. The final and most important cause is lack of self-trust, which underlies all the others, because hesitation, doubt, and overthinking all originate from not fully trusting your ability to respond to whatever happens next. Yet true Stoic confidence is not the belief that life will unfold perfectly, but the certainty that you will be able to handle it regardless of outcome. And this type of confidence is built through evidence, not emotion. Which is why reflecting daily on even one situation you handled well slowly builds a record of capability that, over time, transforms into genuine self-trust. I used to believe confidence came from success, that it would naturally appear once enough goals were achieved. But the more I depended on outcomes, the more fragile I became, because every setback felt like a reflection of my worth. Until I shifted my focus entirely toward what was within my control, my thoughts, my actions, and my responses. And only then did confidence stop being something I chased and become something I built, gradually and deliberately, until it no longer depended on circumstances. If you want to apply this in a structured way, start with awareness in the first week by noticing where you seek validation or avoid discomfort. Then move into action in the second week by deliberately choosing small challenges that require discomfort. And finally, reinforce identity in the third week by aligning your behavior with the person you want to become. Because the goal is never perfection, but consistency. and consistency is what stabilizes confidence over time. If you are serious about change, make it real by acknowledging your starting point with a simple statement. Day 1. I take control, not for anyone else, but as a commitment to yourself. And remember that you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And within Stoic philosophy, that system is discipline, which must be built daily, reinforced consistently, and strengthened over time until it becomes something rare and powerful, a mind that cannot be shaken.